Hi, I'm Ryan with leanmuscleandfitness.com, and today I'm going to be briefly discussing a nutrition and diet strategy that I've personally used for the last two and a half years, and that's called intermittent fasting. And for those of you who may not be familiar with intermittent fasting, let me briefly describe what it is. Now, we all know that what we eat is critical to any fitness, nutrition regimen, but intermittent fasting promotes meal timing. When you eat is the big consideration. Basically, you select an 8-hour window of time during your day, and that becomes your eating window where you consume all your calories. Now, the remaining 16 hours of the day is considered the fast. That's where the fasting comes in. Now, some people might say, wait a minute, fasting for 16 hours? That sounds kind of crazy. But really, if you think about it, it's not that bad. Most of us are sleeping for about 8 of those hours. So really, you just have to fast 8 waking hours. And realistically, how that translates for me and for a lot of people that do intermittent fasting is basically you just skip breakfast. So for me, I usually start eating at about 11 a.m. and usually stop eating by about 6 or 7 p.m. And the nice thing about intermittent fasting is you can actually adjust your eating window according to your lifestyle, your work, things like that. So that's one thing that really works out well. Like I said, I've been doing this for about two and a half years, and I follow a protocol made popular by Martin Burkhan of Leangains at leangains.com. He's an expert on intermittent fasting and has a lot of really good resources there, things that I've picked up and have been able to literally use the last 2.5 years, and it's helped me tremendously. There's some benefits of intermittent fasting that I've found to be really helpful. There's actually quite a few, and I'm going to briefly discuss several of them right now. I will say I have written an article on my website, leanmuscleandfitness.com. You can get the link to the article below this video in the description. But basically, it goes into much more depth about how I actually implement intermittent fasting, and a lot of the benefits, I go into further explanation on them. But I do want to briefly get into them quickly right now, just so you have an idea of intermittent fasting and why you might consider doing it and how it might help you on your fitness journey as well. So probably one of the #1 reasons why people do intermittent fasting, and what I certainly found to be true, is accelerated fat loss, as well as the ability to maintain a low body fat percentage. When I first got on intermittent fasting, I'll admit I wasn't super overweight, but I did have some fat to lose, no question about it. And once I started applying the techniques, the fat literally just starts coming off. It's pretty amazing. So that's one of the reasons why people get on intermittent fasting. It just burns fat like crazy. So and there's a lot of reasons for that. There's a lot of science behind it. And Martin at Leangains, again, he goes into that quite extensively. It also, again, helps you to maintain a low body fat percentage. I've been able to stay at a pretty low body fat percentage, and that's just part of my fitness goal. So it's really helped me to accomplish that really well. Another thing why I also love intermittent fasting is it helps you to gain control over food. I'm basically a self-admitted sugarholic, or I was in the past. Anybody offered me a cookie, a piece of cake, candy, I really couldn't turn it down. So that's just how I am, how I'm wired, I guess. But intermittent fasting has definitely helped me to gain control over food. Look at it more as a fuel than maybe something like a comfort food or something like that. So it's definitely helped me to gain control over what I eat, and not just eating to feel good or feel better or what have you. Really eating to nourish the body. It's really helped with that tremendously. Increased muscle gains, building lean muscle. I can say for myself that I'm certainly in the best shape of my life right now, and I really have intermittent fasting to thank largely for that. So the protocol, definitely how it's set up promotes fat loss, but also muscle building. You eat when the body demands nourishment. So really, Leangains and intermittent fasting is set up to nourish the body, taking your meal after you've worked out or after you've done some strenuous exercise. That way you can refuel yourself and refuel your muscles, and they'll grow. I found that to be the case with me. I've had just better muscle gains than I've ever had in my life, and you can see the definition in my arms and in my abs. Again, going back to the lower body fat percentage, it's really been evident. I can never say that I've had abs, been able to show like that since I've ever been. So that's really helped tremendously with me. Another benefit is mental clarity. This one really surprised me. In the morning, when you've woken up and you got some hours to go left in your fast, a lot of people might think that you'd be sort of lethargic or dizzy or, super ready to eat. But in fact, that's not the case at all. You feel great, you feel sharp, mentally clear, and I found that to certainly be the case, and I know a lot of other people have as well. So high levels of productivity, that sort of goes hand in hand a little bit. You have a lot of energy. Again, you would think you'd be maybe low on energy from not having food for 14, 15, 16 hours, but not at all. In my studies, it has a lot to do with human biology, hormones, and different things like that. But there's no question about it that you can be very, very productive even towards the end of a fast. I know towards the end of my fast, I'm just getting ready to do a workout. So I have, ever since I've done intermittent fasting, I've had the best workouts I've ever had in my life. That's with no food in my stomach for, 15 hours, 16 hours at least. You just feel super sharp, strong, no problems at all. That's for me. That may not be for everybody, but I would say in my studies of intermittent fasting, that's 99% of people report those findings as well. Intermittent fasting promotes a proper whole foods diet. That's something that's really, really important, obviously, is getting proper nutrition, proper food, and Leangains fully supports, foods like lean meat, vegetables, when to eat your carbs, when to eat your healthy fats, all those things. It's just a matter of timing. So, and once you really think about what you're eating and how it can be beneficial to your fitness goals, it just takes on a whole new level, and you'll see success in that department for sure. And lastly, I'll touch on this. A lot of people say, with diets, oh, I'm on this diet right now and this and that. Well, intermittent fasting for me and for the large majority of people that practice it, it's definitely sustainable for the long term. Like I said, I've been doing it 2.5 years, and I feel better than I ever have physically, mentally. I have no reason to stop, no reason to change. So, I plan on doing this the rest of my life. And so it's certainly not a fad, not something that's going to end anytime soon. It works really, really well with my lifestyle, a lot of benefits to it. Really, when it boils down to it, I think it works best, and it works with how the human body was designed. Years ago, we didn't really have access to food like we do nowadays, 24-hour drive up, this or that. We might have been lucky to get 1 or 2 meals a day. And so it's really, it really works with how the body has been designed and how we've developed. And so it's certainly sustainable for the long term. Now, for more information on this, like I said, check out the article below the description. I think you'll find it really, really interesting. I've got some tweaks on Leangains, just some minor changes that I do that I found that are really, really beneficial. And you can find out much more information on intermittent fasting and a lot more fitness-related information, supplements on leanmuscleandfitness.com. And I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you enjoyed this presentation. And thanks for watching.